Naganap ngayong araw ang hearing patungkol sa anomalyang nangyari noong Duterte administrasyon kung saan nabulgar na nga ang lahat-lahat sa mga ginawang kasalanan ni former President Duterte. Hindi nga naka-attend si former President Rodrigo Duterte sa naturang hearing dahil umano sa paninikip ng dibdib nito at sa ilang iniinda pang karamdaman. Samantala ayon sa ilang mambabatas alam na umano nila ang lahat-lahat matapos nga daw na ikanta na ng bunsong anak ni Rodrigo Duterte na si Kitty Duterte ang ama sa ilang mambabatas. Narito panoorin ang video kung paano nagkabukingan sa Senado.
Lastly, Mr. Chairman, we have received a letter coming from Attorney Martin Vidilgra, representing the former President, Honorable Rodrigo Duterte. But we never, and the reason why the former President will be excused in today's hearing because of he needs more rest. He is currently not feeling well and he is need of much rest. So, Mr. Chairman, first and foremost, there is no an authority coming from the former President that he will be represented by Attorney Martin V. Dilgra. And at the same time, no medical certificate confirming that indeed the former President will be excused in today's hearing because of his medical situation.
If I may, Your Honor, as we all know, the former President is already old and has been experiencing, based on media reports, has been sick lately and has actually had his medical check-up, I believe. And I think, in deference to the former President, I think we should afford him the courtesy that is due to him by not requiring him to submit to this committee a medical certificate. Let us give him that extension of our courtesy to him being the former President, and his intention to appear before this committee in the subsequent hearings that we will schedule. So, if I may, Your Honor, let us not pursue the submission of medical certificate from the former President.
But Mr. Chairman, under our rules, no, malinaw po, tradition, all resource persons being invited in every hearing, especially in inquiry in the legislation, we need for him to explain. And the issue here, Mr. Chairman, of course, Attorney Martin Dilgra sent us a letter representing the President, former President, but without an authority coming from the former President.
Perhaps that
And
was just...
Mr. Chairman, we have our internal rules.
I know, Your Honor.
And well,
but,
in fact, during
these
the
are
previous
just-
hearings, well, in fact, during the hearing on public, on dangerous drugs, twice, we excused Attorney Fortun, representing supposedly Michael Young, without any authority from Michael Young. And well, in fact, he presented us authority coming from his office to the corporation being listed.
Well, Your Honor,
To Michael Young.
if I may, we're not, this representation is not asking for the former President not to be excused in not following strictly the rules of the House. What I am asking for, Your Honor, is the request that we should not ask or demand a medical certification coming from the former President, because we all know that he has reached an age of a fragile age. Therefore, maybe we can grant that exception to the former President.
Mr. Chairman,
Your
point
Honor.
of information. Point of information. May I be allowed?
With the indulgence of
yes, with the
Congressman
indulgence of,
Paduano, what is the point of information?
because I haven't read yet, no. I wanted to be clarified on something about the letter that was sent to us by the former president. Was it included in the letter that he is sick right now, or he need more rest in order to be a part of this?
No, I believe, Your Honor, that the lawyer clearly stated in that letter that he needs rest.
And the Chairman Paduano is asking for
If
a
the chair
medical certificate.
will allow me to read in toto, no, part of that letter. He is currently not feeling well and is in need of much rest. But Mr. Chairman, once again, let me, first thing first, since no authority coming from the former president to be represented by Attorney Martin Bidelgra, they have to produce. The committee should direct the former president to issue an authority for Mr. Attorney Martin Delgra, for him to be represented by this attorney. And with regards to the medical certificate, Mr. Chairman, of course, for humanitarian and giving due courtesy to the former president, I might yield to the position of the chair. But on the first issue with regards to authority coming to the former president, being represented, claimed by Attorney Martin Delgra, we have to get an authority from the president.
Yes,
that Attorney Martin Delgra will represent him on the next hearing.
Paduano,
Thank you,
if I
Mr.
may,
Chairman.
I believe that it was just perhaps an oversight, no, from the part of the lawyer, because clearly in this letter, he is representing the former president, and information as to the health of the former president was also stated in this letter. Therefore, I believe that he has the imprimatur coming from the former
Mr.
president.
Chair.
That's the reason why maybe he wrote this letter. So,
Mr. Chair.
Chairman, lastly, Mr. Chairman, with the indulgence of Congressman Flores, of course, let me again stress, Mr. Chairman, this is our tradition and under our rules. And if we do it, if we done it, in regards to Attorney Fortun, a top-notch lawyer, and we excuse Attorney Fortun for not producing any substantial document that he was given an authority from Michael Yang. What's the difference between Attorney Martin Delgra and in the case of the former president?
well,
And I think, Mr. Chairman, kung talaga po, the former president give an authority to Attorney Martin Delgra, then they wrote us a letter. The former president should send us a letter that indeed he's authorizing Attorney Martin Delgra to represent him.
1 minute suspension. Hearing is resumed.
Mr. Chairman,
With the indulgence of Congressman Dan Fernandez, the parliamentary status was the chair had to suspend the hearing for 1 minute in order to resolve the issue of being raised by Congressman Paduano with regards to the letter that the committee received stating, among others, the reason why the former president will not be able to attend the committee hearing today. And Congressman Paduano insisted that we have to stick with the rules
Yes.
of the House. And the chair immediately suspended in order that I can confer with Congressman Paduano so that we can accommodate the request as stated in the letter of the lawyer of former president that he be excused for today's committee hearing. So in this regard, may we ask Congressman Paduano what is the position of the chair of the Committee on Public Accounts?
Mr. Chairman, with regards to the second issue on the medical certificate that being required by this representation to the former president, I will yield to the opinion position of the good chairman,
Thank you.
the lead chairman. But with regards to the authority coming from the former president for Attorney Martin Delgra, we need the document so that he can have an official entry of appearance in the next hearing, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, as I stated earlier, Congressman Paduano, Your Honor, that perhaps it is just an oversight on the part of the counsel of the former president. And I agree that we should ask the counsel to be present in our committee hearing to enter his appearance as the counsel for the former president. So thank you for accommodating my request, Congressman Paduano. So with that, we will now proceed with the next part of
Mr. Chairman,
the agenda.
if I may.
Yes, Congressman Dan Fernandez.
in addition, we were discussing about those two issues that was mentioned by you and by Chairman Paduano. And further, sinasabi po sa Section 9 ng ating rules, that yung physically present nung ating pong binigyan ng authority, para po mag-represent sa ating pong mga witnesses. And dito po sinasabi, provided further, that no witness shall be granted more than 2 postponements of appearance before the committee without justifiable cause. With that, Mr. Chairman, we have to apply the rules of this committee to all or none at all. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for that manifestation, Congressman Fernandez.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Congressman Abante.
I just would like to make it clear for the people watching this Quadcom hearing today. Are we giving special treatment to a witness just because he is the former president? Or just like what Congressman Fernandez said, that this applies to all?
Well, I beg to disagree, Your Honor, that we are giving special treatment. What I am saying and stating for the record that we extend the courtesy due to a former president. Hindi naman po ibig sabihin na hindi na po natin siya imbitahin. On this particular committee hearing that we scheduled for today, the committee has received a letter stating, among others, the reason why the former president cannot be present. So, wala hong exception dyan. Hindi ho natin siya binibigyan ng special treatment. I do agree with the chair of the Committee on Human Rights that we should stick with the rules of the House. But in this particular case, in deference to him being the former president, I would like to ask for your understanding to extend a little bit of the courtesy that is due to him. For being the former president. Wala hong special favors dito. Baka ma-misquote ako. Yun lamang po ang aking gustong ipalabas. I hope that is understandable And,
Yes,
this,
I fully understand, Mr. Chair, and I agree with your sentiments and statement, though I believe that we should further state on the record, Mr. Chair, according to our rule, that no witness shall be granted more than 2 postponements of appearance before the committee without justifiable cause. Would they be able to do that, Mr. Chair?
yes, that is noted, and the chair will definitely agree with the position of Congressman Abante, and the chair likewise, for the record, state that we will stick with what the rules has been provided. Thank you, Congressman Abante. So,
Mr. Chair,
Congresswoman
can I be recognized, Mr. Chair?
Arlene Brosas, and then Congressman Plato.
And
And
myself.
then Congresswoman Franz Castro. Yes, Congresswoman
Thank you,
Brosas,
Mr.
you're
Chair.
recognized.
Mr. Chair, just a manifestation, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, on October 18, the Quadcom sent an invitation to former President Rodrigo Duterte to attend the Quadcom meeting today. Former President Duterte's legal counsel told yesterday that the former president cannot attend the hearing today. Mr. Chair, the non-appearance of former President Rodrigo Duterte at the Quadcom hearing today is a clear manifestation of his disregard for truth, justice, and accountability. By refusing to participate, the former president is hindering the people's right to know and denying them the opportunity to seek justice for the crimes caused by the war on drugs during his term. Libo-libo pong buhay ang ninakaw ng Duterte administration dahil sa kanyang peke at madugong giyera kontra droga. Kailangan niyang harapin ang mamamayang Pilipino na matagal nang humihingi ng hustisya. Hindi pwedeng sabihin na short notice at masama ang pakiramdam at kailangan ng pahinga. Ang mga pamilya nga ng mga biktima, kahit matanda na, andyan po si Tatay Baylon, pumunta rito para makapagpahayag ng kanilang saloobin. So Mr. Chair, takot ba siya na harapin ng taong bayan? Yun lang po ang manifestasyon ko, Mr. Chair.
The manifestation is noted. Congressman Plato, you are now recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning to our esteemed chairpersons and honorable members of the Quad Committee, guests and resource person speakers. This is to express my unqualified support to the various House resolutions arising from the tedious Quad Committee inquiry in aid of legislation, specifically on the matter of the surge of Chinese nationals or students enrolling in various educational institutions in the provinces of Cagayan and Isabela. May mga reports po kasi na libo-libong Chinese students ang dumagsa sa probinsya ng Cagayan at Isabela upang mag-aral mula pa noong 2019. It is not that I'm against Chinese students coming to study in the Philippines. However, considering the tension in the West Philippine Sea and the ongoing legislative investigations into the alleged involvement of Chinese individuals, groups, or corporations in illegal pogos, and the alleged crimes associated in their operation, it is understandable for us Filipinos to feel so concerned on your increased presence here, disguising or not as students. Having said that, honorable chairpersons, this representation fully supports the proposed resolutions aimed at bringing clarity to these pogo-related issues in our country. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Congressman Plato. Before we acknowledge the next member who wished to manifest, allow the chair to acknowledge the presence of Congressman Lordan Suan, Congressman Ernix Junicio, and Congressman Bong Teves. Welcome to the committee hearing. And Congressman Faustino Inodi. Congresswoman Franz Castro, you are recognized for your manifestation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, ang kinatawang ito po ay lubos na nababahala at dismayado sa hindi pagdalo ng dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte sa hearing ng ating komite. parang naggagayahan lang ang mag-amang Duterte. Ang daming sinasabi kapag hindi under oath o wala sa tamang lugar. Pero kapag pinatawag na sa formal na pagdinig, nag-uugaling pusit na pareho. At ang dami ng rason para huwag dumalo ang sagutin ng maayos ang mga katanungan natin. Kaya I move na kapag hindi pa dumalo si dating Presidente Duterte, susunod na hearing ay i-cite na siya in contempt or kung ano man yung rules natin. Kundi ay ito po ay isang malaking insulto sa mga pamilya. Andyan po yung pamilya ng mga biktima ng madugong war on drugs na nandito po sa atin. Sa kanyang pagtanggi ay nagpapakita lamang ng kawalan ng respeto sa proseso ng investigasyon at sa pagharap sa katotohanan. Mr. Chair, ang mga aligasyon laban sa kanya ay napakaseryoso. Mula sa mga pagpatay sa mga sibilyan, sospek at may hirap, maging sa mga Chinese drug convicts hanggang sa pagkamatay ni Mayor Rolando Espinosa. Hindi ito mga bagay na dapat ipagwalang bahala o iwasan. Kung totoong walang itinatago si dating Pangulong Duterte, bakit hindi niya harapin ang mga tanong natin dito sa committee? Bakit kailangan pang magtago sa likod ng mga dahilan tulad ng health issues at short notice? Mr. Chair, hinihiling ko sa committee na gawin ang lahat ng hakbang upang matiyak ang pagdalo ni dating Pangulong Duterte sa susunod na hearing kung patuloy siyang magtatago at dapat nating isaalang-alang ang paggamit ng ating kapangyarihan para i-cite siya in contempt. Ang bayan ay nangangailangan ng katotohanan at hustisya. Hindi tayo dapat magpatinag sa mga taktika ng pag-iwas at pagtatago. Maraming salamat, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Congresswoman Caso. The
Mr.
last
Chair.
to deliver his manifestation is Congressman Keith Flores, with the indulgence of Congressman Abante. You are now recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I only want to confirm that I personally know Attorney Delgra, and I called him up during the break, Mr. Chair. He confirmed that he is acting for and in behalf of the President when he wrote that letter, Mr. Chair. He even sent a text message to confirm that. But I also understand that our rules require his physical presence, so I submit to the ruling of our chairpersons.
Question lang, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank
Mr.
you,
Chair.
Congressman Keith Flores. Now, Congressman Abante, before Congressman Manuel. You are recognized, Congressman Abante.
Since Congresswoman Arlene and Franz Castro mentioned the victims, no? Yung mga kamag-anak po ng victims, can we recognize them? Can we ask all of them to stand up, please, to recognize ang mga kamag-anak po ng mga biktima?
Pwede po bang tumayo ang mga kamag-anak po ng biktima? Maraming salamat po. Pwede na po kayong maupo. Maraming salamat. Congressman Manuel and then Congressman Acop. Congressman Manuel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, tanong lang dahil batay na rin po sa official communication na pinadala mula sa panig ng dating Pangulo. Nabanggit po doon yung, and I quote, willingness to appear before the House of Representatives on some other available date, preferably after November 1, end of quote. So, Mr. Chair, sa ganito mga pagkakataon na sa panig po nila nag-express ng ganong availability, how will the committee deal with that? Dahil, Mr. Chair, while meron tayong mga tinitake note na mga considerations, ayaw din naman natin na maprolong iyan, tapos baka tumagal din na hindi pala magiging maayos yung kalusugan ng dating Pangulo at madadali po ang mga proceedings ng komite na expected na humarap siya. So, sa bahagi ng Quadcom, Mr. Chair, do we have some target dates kung kailan talaga posibleng matuloy na ang investigasyon na makaupo ang dating Pangulo? Yan lang, Mr. Chair.
Well, in response to your question, Congressman Manuel, it will depend by and large on the topic that we will set on the next scheduled committee hearing. So in case where EJK will be the scheduled topic, then we will have to extend invitation again to the former president. So thank you. Congressman Acop.
Mr. Chair, pursuant to our rules on inquiry under Section 15, may I respectfully move that we extend our inquiry insofar as the issues raised in the Quadcom committee is concerned, because Section 15 requires that we terminate our hearings within a period of 60 days. So may I move, Mr. Chair, that we extend the hearing? So move, Mr. Chair.
There is a motion
Second,
to
Mr.
extend the Quadcom hearing, duly seconded. Are there any objections? Hearing none, the motion is approved. Comsec, please take note that the committee, the Quadcom, has unanimously approved the extension of the conduct of this committee hearing. Thank you. Now we proceed with the next part of the agenda. May we ask former Senator Laila de Lima for your opening statement.
Mr. Chair, bago po yun, naalaman ko po na meron pang mga nasa baba ng mga EJK victims, ng mga pamilya, na kung meron tayong lugar dito, wala na yata lugar, pwedeng umakyat or pwede na natin kilalanin at recognize.
Wala na po tayong lugar, Your Honor. And hopefully, magkasya po sana po dito lahat ng nating naimbitahang resource persons. But unfortunately, the space is limited. So I believe that they are properly seated sa basement, sa ground floor. And nanonood po sila ng ating hearing sa ngayon. So now we proceed with acknowledging former Senator Laila de Lima for your opening statement. Please proceed.
Good morning to the lead chair of the Quad Committee, Representative Barbers, to the chairs of the other committees constituting the Quadcom, the members of the Quadcom, members of Congress, and also good morning to the other resource persons invited for today's hearing. Actually po, I have both a statement and a presentation. Medyo mahaba po, and I was advised right before the hearing that I should cut it down. Although mahaba po talagang presentation ko. Best efforts, I will try to abbreviate.
Mr. Chair, before our former senator proceeds, can I just request that she puts the mic a little bit closer, just so that we can hear her voice louder. Thank you very much.
Salamat po. I attend this hearing with a deep sense of irony. I have not forgotten that in September and October of 2016, the House Committee on Justice conducted the inquiry on the Bilibid drug trade. However, unlike this hearing, the real subject of that hearing was not really about the drug trade. The real subject of that 2016 House Committee hearing was all about destroying me for conducting a Senate inquiry which in so many aspects was like this one. The only difference between this hearing and that Senate hearing is that my committee inquiry was 8 years earlier and Duterte was at the peak of power. Sa Senate hearing pong yun ay kinundin ako yung drug war ni Duterte. At nagmakaawa pa po ako na tigilan na ito habang ilang daan pa lang ang mga nagiging biktima at wag na sanang paabutin pa ng libo-libo. Ngunit sa kasawiang palad, wala pong nakinig sa akin, lalo na may mga mayorya po tayo ng mga senador at congressman na ayon kay Senator Bongo noong isang araw, ay walang sawa sa pagpalakpak kay Pangulong Duterte sa bawat banggit niya sa pagsulong na madugong drug war sa kanyang mga zona. Sa halip ako ay pinaaresto, pinakulong, binusalan ng halos 7 taon gamit ang mga gawa-gawang ebidensya katulad ng testimonya ng mga ilang Bilibid drug lords at inmates. I'd like to say that the objective for targeting me was threefold: to silence me, to destroy my credibility, and to serve as an example to others. By doing all three, my message to the people against Duterte's EJKs would no longer be heard or listened to, and no one else would dare to act as a messenger after seeing what was done to me. Since all three were achieved, the EJKs became accepted by public officials and the general population. This led to more killings because no one was arresting
and prosecuting the killer cops and the vigilantes. This was impunity as never seen before in the Philippines outside of Davao. Sobrang nakakalungkot na ngayon lamang nagkaroon ng napaka-komprehensibong pagtalakay ang Kamara de Representantes sa drug war at mga EJK pagkatapos ng tumambak ang libo-libong bangkay na naging biktima ng drug war. Ayon nga po kay Professor Randy David, marahil ang pandinig na ito ng Kamara ay katumbas na rin ng aming pinapangarap na Truth Commission na hihimay sa mga tunay na pangyayari sa 6 na taon na pagpaslang ng ating sariling gobyerno at kapulisan sa libo-libo nating mga kababayan. But right now, I don't want to discuss it, but my position is that pwede pa sigurong i-consider yung creation ng Truth Commission. At tingnan din ho natin na hindi lang po pagpatay ang naging resulta ng war on drugs ni Duterte. There are also those who were unjustly imprisoned based on planted and fabricated evidence. Ako nga po yung one of the very first victims of that. Ngayon naman po, ito na rin po ang pinatutuo yung sa bagong revelasyon ni Police Colonel Royina Garma nang binulgar niya sa huling hearing ng Quadcom na siya ang inatasan mismo ni Pangulong Duterte na maghanap ng tao sa PNP na maasahan niya sa pag-iimplementa ng drug war alinsunod sa modelong ginawa niya sa Davao City. That's why my presentation, and I'll try to really make it brief, would cover 4 matters, 4 topics. One is the recent disclosure of Kerwin Espinosa. I'd like to comment on that. 2 is the importance of the 2009 CHR investigation of the DDS to the inquiry of this committee. 3 is the revelation of former Police Colonel Royina Garma that the drug war was modeled after the Davao anti-drug campaign. And I'd like also to touch the relevance of Republic Act number 9851 on crimes against humanitarian law, genocide, and other crimes against humanity in enforcing accountability. So ito na po yung aking presentation, although meron po akong mga i-skip because actually part of my presentation are some videos, but hindi ko na po yon ipapakita because of the limited time. So nung narinig ko nga po yung testimonya ni Kerwin Espinosa last hearing, it was Senator Bato de la Rosa who ordered him to lie under oath before the Senate in November 2016. Hindi na po ako nagulat doon. Si Kerwin actually already retracted his fabricated testimony against me in April 2022, around the same time that Rafael Ragos, the former Bucor OIC and NBI Deputy Director, also recanted in accusing me of receiving money from believed drug lords. Doon po sa hearing sa Senado, ay talaga namang sinabi ko doon na lahat po ng mga sinasabi nila tungkol sa akin, so yung pagiging protector ko daw nung illegal drug trade ni Mr. Kerwin Espinosa, ay wala ho yung katotohanan. I vehemently, categorically, and firmly went on record in denying those accusations. Sinabi ko rin noon, na yung mga sinasabi nila Kerwin Espinosa, ni Ronnie Dayan, and ni Colonel Espinido ay wala talagang katotohanan. In the first place, hindi nga sila magkakilala. Nauna na nilang sinabi yun before they were presented before the Senate na hindi sila mga magkakilala. Dali lang po. So ngayon po, nandito si Colonel Espinido. I saw him earlier. If the Quad Committee would be so kind as to indulge me, gusto ko sana makiusap kay Colonel Espinido. Sabihin niya na yung katotohanan. Kasi yung all he said during that Senate hearing was just let God be the witness to my innocence or something to that effect. Sana po ngayon, Colonel Espinido, sabihin niyo na rin po ang katotohanan. Kung pwede sabihin nyo na rin o i-corroborate nyo yung sinabi ni Kerwin na si then PNP Chief De La Rosa and now Senator De La Rosa ang involved or responsible for ordering the three of you to fabricate accusations against me. Now, sinabi ko rin po kanina na I'd like to discuss the relevance of the CHR investigation and the Quadcom inquiry. Maybe at this point, I cannot yet do that. Sasabihin ko lang po na mahalaga yung naging CHR investigation namin in 2009 into the DDS killings. Kasi pwede itong maging reference point in terms of painting a picture of the organization, the Davao Death Squad, the operation, and the implementation of the Duterte drug war from the barangay to the national level. Kasi sinabi na nga ho ni Colonel Garma, yung kanyang mga revelasyon na the extrajudicial killings, yung mga operations under Duterte's drug war beginning in 2016 was just patterned after the Davao model. And the Davao model can only refer or can only mean the DDS model or the Davao Death Squad. Skip muna po natin yan. Doon naman sa affidavit po ni Colonel Garma, presented and expounded upon the last hearing, I'd like to share some information we got and some findings on the Davao model of payment and rewards mentioned by Colonel Garma. This information is limited to the facts uncovered during the 2009 CHR investigation on the Davao Death Squad. Next slide, please. The history of the DDS can be divided into two. The period from 1988 to 1998 and the period from 2001 to 2016. So may break po. The break in these two periods coincides with then Mayor Rodrigo Duterte's hiatus as mayor of Davao City when he was elected congressman instead of mayor in 1998 due to the three-term limit. So for brevity, I'll refer to the former mayor as MRRD. According to a witness in the 2009 CHR investigation, during the first period of the DDS from 1988 to 2000, the assassins were paid $15,000 for every victim. $5,000 goes to the police handler and $10,000 to the assassins, who at the time consisted of rebel returnees aside from the active duty policemen who were their handlers. Their safe house was located inside the Nobelcom compound in Barangay San Pedro, Davao. After the summary execution of targeted victims, the DDS members would regroup at their safe house and divide the reward. During that time, MRRD sometimes personally gave out the kill orders and the reward money directly to the assassins themselves. Upon the return of MRRD as mayor of Davao in 2001, the DDS was upgraded into the Heinous Crimes Investigation Section, or HCIS, located at the Almendras Gym compound. The HCIS was an official unit of the DCPO, or the Davao City Police Office. The HCIS consists of both active duty PNP and civilian abanteros, or hitmen. Most of the hitmen are rebel returnees. They are supervised by PNP handlers. Each handler supervises 3 members. The task of the PNP handler is to give orders to his members as well as be responsible for their protection. According to the CHR witness, he was given a regular monthly salary of $5,000. During this time, the reward given to a team for every victim was anywhere from $13,000 to $15,000. $3,000 to $5,000 goes to the PNP handler. $7,000 to $8,000 was shared among the rebel returnees, and $500 to $1,000 to civilian informants. The HCIS civilian personnel or rebel returnees directly received salaries as auxiliary service workers. The funds for their salaries came from the office of the mayor. Functions have also been specialized, with members being designated to do either office support or field work. A team of 1 PNP handler and 3 civilian abanteros was given an average of 3 targets every month. May I now go also to the revelation of Arturo Las Cañas. Yung mga naging findings po namin, although yung iba po doon, mga unofficial findings ng CHR investigation, were eventually confirmed by Edgar Matobato and Arturo Las Cañas when they went public at the Senate with their stories and executed affidavits in 2016 and 2017. Matobato executed an affidavit and was filed with the Ombudsman as a criminal complaint against Duterte and other DDS members. The criminal complaint is still pending sa Office of the Ombudsman. The most comprehensive account on the DDS from its founding in 1988 up to 2016 is the affidavit of Arturo Las Cañas, which was submitted to the ICC. This affidavit consists of 186 pages of gory details on the sociopathic behavior of Duterte as founder and leader of the DDS. Yung 186-page affidavit po yan, actually it was serialized in an investigative or feature story of Rappler in November 2021. Apparently, Rappler got hold of a copy of this affidavit and also the ICC's third agreement on limited use of information dated November 11, 2020. This instrument gave Las Cañas limited immunity as a witness in the ICC investigation on the Philippine War on Drugs. Noong 2024 naman po, Las Cañas reiterated the contents of his ICC affidavit in another serialized feature, this time published by Veria Files, entitled Conversations with Arturo Las Cañas. Ito naman po ang sinasabi ni Las Cañas, that during the period 1988 to 1998, so I'm just talking here about the organization, kasi napakadami po ng mga sinabi niya sa kanyang comprehensive affidavit. So I'm focusing on the organization of DDS dahil nga ito yung naging model ng drug war. According to Las Cañas' ICC affidavit, during the period 1988 to 1998, when the DDS was constituted as the Anti-Crime Task Force of MRRD, DDS members were paid anywhere from 10,000 to 20,000 for every victim. This was the reward for the ordinary victims. Pag mga matataas naman po, the so-called special project killings, they were rewarded anywhere from 100,000 to 1 million pesos, depending on the status of the target. Civilian hitmen called force multipliers were given 3,000 to 5,000 per victim as their share in this reward. The DDS logistics and finances came from the Peace and Order or Intel Fund of MRRD. This includes weekly gas allowance, monthly cash allowance, and Christmas cash gifts. Skip ko na muna po yung iba. Next slide, please. Las Cañas also confirmed the CHR findings on the organizational structure of the DDS under the HCIS, or Heinous Crimes Investigation Section, from 2001 to 2016. And this is as follows. MRRD, alias Superman, as the highest leader and mastermind of the DDS. SPO4 Sanson Benaventura as the logistics, finance, and death clearance feature or officer. SPO3 Arturo Las Cañas as overall team leader for operations and planning. SPO4 Bienvenido Laud as team handler and in charge of the Laud Quarry mass grave. And SPO3 Jim Tan as team handler and in charge of the Mandug mass grave. Actually, mas intricate yung inattach ni Mr. Las Cañas sa kanyang ICC affidavit about the organizational structure of the DDS. What I just mentioned, I just simplified it to show who are really at the top of the DDS hierarchy. Most of the policemen handlers and their respective teams of civilian force multipliers were under the command of Arturo Las Cañas as operations and planning leader of the DDS. So sinabi ko po na that must be the Davao model na binanggit ni Colonel Garma. Finally, by way of just sharing my knowledge, last na po ito, kung pwede po sana. Tungkol na lang muna po sa the law, RA 9851. Kasi hindi po ito masyadong alam ng karamihan. We do have a law entitled An Act Defining and Penalizing Crimes against International Humanitarian Law, Genocide and Other Crimes Against Humanity, Organizing Jurisdiction, Designating Special Courts, and for related purposes. This was enacted in December 11, 2009. It punishes almost the same crimes mentioned in the Rome Statute, over which the ICC has jurisdiction. RA 9851 was enacted almost 2 years before the Philippines finally joined the ICC on November 1, 2011, after the Senate ratified the Rome Statute in August 2011. The crime of EJ case carried out by state security forces and their agents in the implementation of the war on drugs fall under the general category of other crimes against humanity under Section 6, which consists of acts committed as part of a widespread or systematic attack directed against any civilian population with knowledge of the attack. These acts include willful killing, so murder, extermination, murder, multiple murder, torture, and enforced disappearance, among others. The penalty for the crime of systematic attack against any civilian population resulting in death is reclusion perpetua. It's a non-bailable crime. According to Section 8, a person who orders, solicits, or merely induces the systematic attack on the civilian population and which thereafter occurs or is attempted is liable as a principal. The same applies to anyone who contributes to the commission of the crime by a group of persons acting with a common purpose. Section 9 provides that official capacity as a head of state or government shall in no case exempt a person from criminal responsibility under this act, nor shall it in and of itself constitute a ground for reduction of sentence. The crimes defined and penalized under that law, their prosecution and the execution of sentences imposed on their account shall not be subject to any prescription. Pwede po silang tugusin or tugisin habang buhay. Finally, and this one is important, hindi po ito masyadong napapansin, Section 17 on jurisdiction provides that, quote, relevant Philippine authorities may dispense with the investigation or prosecution of a crime punishable under this act if another court or international tribunal is already conducting the investigation or undertaking the prosecution of such crime. Instead, the authorities may surrender or extradite suspected or accused persons in the Philippines to the appropriate international court, if any, or to another state, pursuant to the applicable extradition laws and treaties. Napakasimple po. Sa aking palagay, sa aking pagkaalam, napakasimple po ang ibig sabihin ng batas na ito. Hindi pa tayo miyembro ng ICC o ng Rome Statute, kinilala na natin ang kapangyarihan ng international bodies like the ICC na imbestigahan at litisin ang mga krimeng nasasaad sa RA 9851. Hindi pa tayo miyembro ng ICC, meron na ho tayong general na pahintulot sa anumang mga international body katulad ng ICC na tugisin at litisin ang mga Pilipino na magiging kasabwat sa mga tinatawag na crimes against humanity katulad ng malawakang EJK sa ilalim ng drug war. Hindi pa tayo miyembro ng ICC na ilahad na natin sa batas na yan na kung sakali may international body na nag-iimbestiga ng crimes against humanity, maaari nating isurrender o i-extradite sa international body na katulad ng ICC sa The Hague, Netherlands, and mga sangkot sa mga ganitong klase ng krimen. I do recognize, and I think you will agree with me, that it will be totally discretionary on the part of the Philippine authorities. Just like sa mga sa extradition po natin, na pwede natin na isurrender muna, ipaubaya muna in the requesting party, yung isang akusado na covered sa extradition treaty, pero nasa atin pa rin yun kung gagawin natin yon. Kaya ko po to sinasabi kasi through this law, we have recognized the jurisdiction of the ICC over crimes against humanity committed in the Philippines, even before we ratified the Rome Statute as a binding treaty. Sarili na po nating batas ang nagsasabi na kailangan natin makipag-ugnayan sa ICC kahit noong hindi pa tayo miyembro ng ICC. Lalo na noong tayo ay miyembro na. At kahit hindi na tayo miyembro ng ICC dahil sa makasariling pagkalas ni Duterte sa ICC noong 2018. Para sabihin natin na wala na tayong pakialam sa ICC, kailangan muna nating ipawalang bisa ang batas na ito. However, I respectfully submit, rather than repeal this law, we should now take steps to retract the self-serving act of Mr. Duterte to withdraw from the ICC in 2018. We must return to the fold of the ICC. We must rejoin the community of nations who have recognized the need for an international body of nations who have recognized to go after the perpetrators of the most terrible crimes against humanity, the hostis humani generis, the enemies of humankind. Mga kaaway lamang ng sangkatauhan ang takot sa pagsasanib puwersa ng mga bansa upang matigil ng pagpatay ng walang habas sa ngalan ng Estado. But having said that, I still appreciate so much, many people appreciate so much the efforts of this Squad Committee that can very well be indeed the Truth Commission. Kaya lang tindang natin, yung napaka-komplikado talaga ng usapin ng war of drugs. Kadaming biktima na hindi naman natin pwedeng busisiin lahat for every individual acts of killing. Kundi, dapat anuhin natin, maganda nga yung nangyayari doon sa mga revelasyon ni Colonel Garma, na ganyan yung ginamit nilang model. At tinuturo mismo si Mr. Duterte. So ano lang siya? Supplemental, ano lang siya? It's just corroborating everything else that we know from news reports, from other information, and from yung mga nangyayari beginning in 2016. So I just shared my views on the need to rejoin ICC kasi you can never tell in the future ano man yung resulta ng itong ginagawang investigasyon ng Quad Committee, na in the future we will have another tyrant, another mass killer for a president. So, ganun po ang aking opinion sa bagay na yan. Maraming salamat
Mr.
po.
Chair,
Thank you, Senator Laila de Lima, for your sharing with us in the Quadcom your opinion on the very important national issue of extrajudicial killings. So,
clarificatory lang.
Congressman Abante, you're now recognized.
Former Senator, kailan niyo po itong napag-aralan? Nung kayo po ay CHR pa. CHR pa ho kayo?
Opo. I became a CHR chairperson in 2008. Noong 2009 po, sinimulan namin yung investigation into the Davao Death Squad killings. Dahil nga may mga impormasyon po kami noon, and nakita lalo namin yung report ni UN Special Rapporteur Philip Alston, and some other reports like the one issued by the Human Rights Watch, You Can Die Anytime. The title of that is You Can Die Anytime, referring to the killings under this group, which are now euphemistically called the Davao Death Squad. Kaya lang po, if I may say so, na yung aking pong termino or yung aking pag-upo bilang CHR chairperson hanggang 2010 lang po. Dahil in 2010, na-appoint na po ako as Justice Secretary ng dating Pangulong Noynoy Aquino. So
pinagpatuloy niyo po ba yung investigasyon ng kayo Secretary of Justice Department?
Konti lang po yung mga nagawa ng DOJ nung secretary na po ako. Although si Matobato, sumipot po siya, at we gave him, the DOJ gave him witness protection. Kaya lang, nung uupo na po in 2016, yung dating Pangulong Duterte, bilang Pangulo, ay umalis na po siya sa witness protection program. Yun po ang pagkakaalam ko. Pero meron po akong extensive personal investigation notes on what we gathered. Kasi yung mga nakausap namin in the course of that CHR inquiry na magaganda o mahalaga yung mga sinasabi nila, kasama na rin yung tungkol sa reward system, ay sila po yung mga kinausap lang namin ng mga sikreto lang. Kasi ayaw nilang humarap doon mismo sa open public inquiry ng CHR
marami
noong 2009.
kayo nakausap.
About, if I'm not mistaken, it's about 5 of them. At in-interview lang namin sila. Kasi sa karamihan sa kanila ay hindi naman ayaw pong mag-execute ng formal affidavit, but we interviewed them. That's why I took down notes, personal notes, and gumamit nga po sila ng mga aliases.
Pari niyo po bang isubmit ang inyong findings sa committee?
Yes, I can share with this committee my personal investigation notes on the conduct of the CHR inquiry. Kasi pag alis ko nga po, wala pa yung resolution. Later on, the CHR under new leadership came out with a resolution. I think that was in June of 2012.
Okay, Mr. Chair, did you also submit that to the ICC? Your findings?
My personal notes, I think I have. My personal notes, at meron pa ho ako mga iba na mga shinare with the ICC.
One last question, Mr. Chair. I would like to refer to Colonel Espinido. You were directly mentioned by the former senator. So will you please answer her now on that issue? Are you corroborating with the former senator on this, or?
Good morning, Your Honors, Mr. Chair. Good morning, ma'am. For me, as Chief of Police at that time in Albuera, I am one of endorsing the complaint to the DOJ. One of those names is Ma'am Leila de Lima for the affidavit that was already made by Mayor Espinosa together with his lawyer, Villarino. So as Chief of Police, I am one who endorsed that complaint to the Ombudsman. But for me, as I remember when we talked with Ma'am de Lima in the Senate, that I'm telling her that, Ma'am, the truth will set you free. Because for me, I am innocent for that. As just only a Chief of Police who endorsed the complaint to the DOJ. But yung knowledge talaga, sir, hindi ko alam kung totoo na siya involved si Ma'am. No, as being Chief of Police lang, na yun talaga ang procedure na mag-endorse kung may mga complaint. Pero I believe at the time, Your Honors, Mr. Chair, na kinausap na si Mayor Espinosa kung nalaman naman ng buong mundo na si Mayor Espinosa was already there in Camp Crame to Sir Bato for surrender. So pag turn over niya sa akin, dala na yung mga statement na ganon. So what I did is just only to endorse the complaint to the Ombudsman, Your Honors, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, thank you. I'll be asking more questions later on.
Thank you, Congressman Abante.